morning. Welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, and Calvin Butenoff coming to you live from our home at Radio Park in Racine. You can join us, call or text. The number is the same at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Busy show coming up today. Andrea Watkins has been a guest before. She is a New York Times bestselling author, and she also has an award-winning Substack. It started out as how Project 2025 will ruin your life. It has become for such a time as this.
Yeah.
It's a great Substack. Andrea grew up in a white Christian nationalist household.
Community, too.
In a community,
Yeah.
yes, and school and the whole thing. So she has some very interesting perspectives when it comes to the Christian nationalists who are now part of the administration, essentially. Russ Votes, right up there. The author of Project 2025.
Our Speaker of the House is a Christian nationalist.
Yep, him too.
Yep.
So we're going to talk to Andrea Watkins about, because it's the left is the enemy.
Absolutely.
Satan.
Yeah.
They're the party of Satan and demonic and all those things. But Andrea has some interesting perspectives on who is considered left.
Ooh.
And you might be surprised that as much as you might align with the...
Wait, am I conservative, actually?
As much as you might align with the current administration, you might actually be a lefty, according to Christian nationalists.
And that's going to go, and I feel like I'm going to say this with her as well, and I've said it before. It goes back to the idea of you think you're enough, and someday you won't be. And
Exactly.
you'll get a knock on the door, and you will be surprised.
Yep. And we're also going to talk about Mr. Morris, the former Trump spiritual advisor.
Oh, yes.
Who pled guilty to sexually assaulting a 12-year-old girl. And he's going to serve 6 whole months.
Stick around for that conversation.
Got a 10-year sentence. He's going to serve 6 whole months because they're very serious about protecting children.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that with Andrea Watkins coming up after the 9:30 news. Next hour, Darren Von Ruden will be here, the president of the Wisconsin Farmers Union. Yes, we're going to keep talking tariffs and what this means for Wisconsin farmers and subsequently what this means for Wisconsin consumers.
Yes.
Because this is showing up now. I'm sure you've seen it if you've been at the grocery store. Prices are up no matter what the leader of the free world might say. Prices are down everywhere, Greg, according to Donald Trump.
Gas is free.
And he's going to lower prices by 1,300%. So that should be interesting.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for that. That's in hour number 2. Brewers in action later on today.
This afternoon.
Are you going to listen?
No.
He's so anxiety-ridden.
No, I have to watch on my phone. It's the only control I have in my life. I watch on my phone, sort of. I can't listen. I can't watch.
You just kind of dip in and out.
But you should listen on Civic Media because we are a Brewers network, and you can listen on traditional terrestrial radio. You can listen to the game all over Wisconsin. Jane, where are some of the stations people can hear us?
Our broadcast will start at 3:30 this afternoon. I think the first pitch goes out a little after 4.
4:08.
4:08. Again, as Greg said, you can listen to the game on terrestrial radio. So WRCE in Richland Center, WISS in Oshkosh, WCQM in Park Falls, WBZH in beautiful Hayward, and right here in Racine and Kenosha on WRJN 99.9 FM, 1400 AM. Brewers could they could sweep it.
Could sweep it,
Could
but
sweep it this afternoon. They're at Wrigley.
they're at Wrigley. Keep our expectations very realistic. and
Temper them, yes.
Cannot wait. Honestly, if they win, that will be wonderful. I'll be very happy. I actually felt my whole body relax right there at just the thought of a Brewers victory in Game 3. But I have now just become a really big fan of the Chicago sports writing intelligentsia and how they're all 7-year-old boys who didn't make it past T-ball because they're so mad.
They're being really petty.
Oh, they're the pettiest. They are. You think the Kardashians are petty? These guys take the cake. They are the pettiest of petty. They're so mean and so snarky and so bitter. I Just as I once heard Patton Oswalt say, he said you could just drizzle it on pancakes. It's amazing.
Chicago sports writers, bad case of Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Bad case of Mean Girls these days. What a shame.
Yeah.
What a shame. Anyway, if you're going, and that special train, I believe, has already left.
Yes, it
the
did.
special train to Chicago that
Yeah.
Amtrak was running. So if you got pictures or you're going to the game, please share them with us.
Yeah.
You can send them in to our text line at
Yes.
855-752-4842 and go Crew. That would be a great and wonderful thing.
Yes.
Wanted to start off with things a little bit closer to home. Josh Kaul, Wisconsin Attorney General, says he will not seek re-election, or he will seek re-election as Attorney General, is not going to run for governor.
Good. I think that's a good plan.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I will say this. This is no. Actually, I'm not even gonna say it. I don't care if people take offense to this. He wouldn't have been the right choice, in my opinion. I fully feel, and I believe other people do. I'm not gonna say people are saying. I just feel that people do agree with me on the matter that his lack of speed with moving to prosecute those who had their hands in the 2020 election.
You mean the fake electors?
The fake electors. The fact that he moved so slowly on that was very noticeable by individuals. We heard it from people here on the text line, calling. And his recent activity since the election of last year has shown an enthusiasm for the job. But I feel like that everything before that would have hindered a run for the governorship. And so I think it's a good idea for him to run re-election.
For AG.
It will not be easy. I still think there will be questions, especially if someone wants to primary him. I think more so if someone wants to primary him. But yeah, I think this is a good move for Attorney General Kaul.
Kaul said in an interview with WPR, his decision, partly based, it's personal in nature, also reflective of the work his office has taken on in challenging the Trump administration. Quote, "This is such an important time for the role of attorneys general around the country. I think it's a pivotal time for the country, and I think some of our most basic rights are under threat." He's not wrong.
Nope, he's not wrong at all.
He's not
I totally
wrong.
agree with that.
And it is more important than ever that we have attorneys general who actually follow the law.
For as long as they're allowed to.
That's true.
Until it becomes illegal by way of the Supreme Court to challenge the president on anything, which you think it's funny, but it can be true.
And then there's a new poll out. This seems way premature. New governor's race poll from WISN gives Tom Tiffany and Mandela Barnes an early lead.
Okay, let's be okay. So
this poll was by Platform Communications.
Yes, and it was done by a Republican and a Democrat. Full disclosure, I worked with the Democratic pollster many years ago in an election, and what's interesting about this, I wanted to find it again, is that while Tom Tiffany does have a lead on the Republican side, and Mandela Barnes, for some reason, has a lead.
Because he hasn't even announced.
He's not announced, and he absolutely has not made any sort of claim. I'm trying to find the numbers are very interesting to me because on both sides, undecided is winning. That has more percentage points than
any of the
else.
candidates.
And there is actually a section for it is none. Yeah, none/someone else. So on the Republican side, 34% are undecided, 30% are for Tom Tiffany, 14 for Eric Hovde, not in the race, 9 Tim Michels, not in the race, 4% for Josh Schumann. As we all remember, Bill Berrien dropped out about a week and a half ago, and then 9% for none/someone else. On the Democratic side, it is a little more, it's a little bigger because there's more people, but undecided has 38%.
Lots of support.
Mandela Barnes, and I think this is telling for someone who's A, not in the race, and B, in, quote, first place for humans, 16%.
Oh, boy.
So you look at Tom Tiffany, who's 30, Mandela Barnes, not in the race, 16%, and then it goes all the way down. Rodriguez after that with 8, Crowley with 7, Kaul, not in the race, 7, Hong, 4, Kelderoys and Missy Hughes weren't even registered, and someone else is on there as well. So I feel like, yeah, of course there's going to be a poll, but this is a very weak poll. I mean, 1, 2, 2 of the people on the Democratic side are not in the race. I think 3 in the Republican are not in the race. It's just, I feel like this mucks up the conversation, especially since Mandela Barnes has not been part of it yet.
Right.
In the serious tone. Like, Dan Schaefer has mentioned Mandela Barnes. We've talked about Mandela. I don't think he should run.
I don't think so either.
Period. I don't think he should run. But that doesn't stop people from saying, oh, yeah, I remember that. I remember that guy.
Well,
I remember that guy.
Name recognition is a very important thing.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think this seems just a little premature. And we're going to see 1 billion more polls before we actually go to the polls.
Oh, yeah. We're probably going to see at least, it's October the 8th right now. My guess is by mid-month, we'll see at least 2 more polls.
Yeah, it's going to become a regular thing. I do find it interesting that Eric Hovde and Tim Michaels are both mentioned in here. But again, that just speaks to the power of name recognition.
And Eric Hovde, I mean, granted, Eric Hovde is the closest one to Tom Tiffany, but Eric Hovde has 14%, and he's not in the race. Did he? Yes, he did do the thing. He did a Tommy Thompson. I haven't ruled it out. I'm thinking about it. Blah, blah, blah. I need a headline again. I need to be relevant. Even though I'm rich, who cares?
Well, it really depends upon, and I would think with both Hovde and Michaels, the biggest issue is, do they feel like shelling out a couple more $1 million of their own money?
Yeah.
In order to throw their hat in the ring.
I mean, if they really wanted to, they would have stayed in the state and kept working and meeting with people and being politicians, essentially. But when both of them lost, they hightailed it out. They're gone. They're not of this state. They're not us. Sorry, you guys have companies here. Great. And Tom Tiffany, sorry, just because you put a hat on that says home with the Wisconsin where the O is, doesn't make, I'm sorry, just.
It's interesting, though, to see the reaction from some on the right who think Tom Tiffany is they're very excited about this because he apparently ran a campground at one point.
I thought he surveyed land or something.
Maybe it was that.
Well,
and so I've seen comments saying he is right out of Central Casting, which is something that Donald Trump has always said because, of course, to him everything is a reality show.
Yeah, and also this must be interesting for Tom Tiffany because this is the first time I think anyone's been excited about him running ever. So really, when it comes down to it, I think he should just swim in the moment. But
enjoy.
He's doing the same thing that Hovde did. Is he's trying to be down home Wisconsin.
I'm just like you.
I'm shoveling the poo in the barn because I know what it's like to live on the farm, and I know he comes from farming background.
He does,
and that's fine.
That's great.
Then what have you done for him?
He also knows how to hold a fish.
He does know how to fish.
Very important.
Standing on a frozen lake. Once again, lake sitting, lake standing.
It's all good.
That's what makes a real governor.
Apparently, it's all good. Coming up, Mike Johnson, run away, baby. Run away.
God.
Epstein, he's still dead and he's still not going away. Stay close. You're listening to Matenaer On Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll be right back. morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Dr. Slide on the board. Coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can join us, call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Want to congratulate our grand prize winner from the multi-state Go for the Green and Gold Text to Win contest. Dennis from Minocqua, listening to WCQM, was the grand prize winner. Picked up that pair of indoor club level tickets to see Green Bay versus Minnesota November 23rd at noon with a gas card to get him there and back. Congratulations, Dennis. Have a wonderful time. Take lots of pictures. We want to see them. And thanks to everybody who entered.
Yeah.
It was really a lot of fun to see where everyone is listening around the state. And just a reminder, we will have another one of these text to win contests coming up soon.
And Dennis, if you're listening right now, when you do go to the game and you're snapping all the pictures, you can send those pictures via the same app that you use to enter, which is the Civic Media app, because you can call, you can text, you can leave a voice note. You don't even have to like us to do that.
And you can leave your name.
You can
so
exactly, and your location, your social security number, and your favorite pets.
If you're inclined.
Yeah, and this goes for anybody. If you're ever going to an event, if you're ever doing something that you want us to see, you can send those pictures through the Civic Media app by simply texting us, and we'll see them, and we'll talk about them, and it'll be great.
And the whole point is the Civic Media app is
absolutely free.
So make sure you download it, go to your app store, and look for Civic, C-I-V-I-C, Civic Media. Before we go to the bottom of the hour news, I think it's important that we keep reminding folks that we could have the Epstein files. They could be released because there is now another Democrat who would bring the vote to 218, which is what we need in order for them to release the Epstein files. She won a special election 2 weeks ago, and Mike Johnson is refusing to swear her in. But it's not to delay the release of the Epstein files, Greg, in case that's what you were thinking. Couldn't be that. We have a couple clips of the Speaker of the House. Calvin, it's producer choice. Play any of those clips that you like, please.
There was a moment earlier this year, you swore in 2 Republican members during the pro forma session. So why not swear in Adelita Grijalva, who was elected 2 weeks ago during the pro forma session? Does it have to do with her 218th signature on the discharge petition, the Epstein discharge petition?
No, it has nothing to do with that at all. We will swear her in when everybody gets back. It's a ceremonial duty. Look, we'll schedule it, I guess, as soon as she wants. It has nothing to do with it.
As soon as
you heard that,
she's been there for 2 weeks.
Adelita Grijalva has been waiting to be sworn in. She would have been sworn in on the plane if she was a Republican.
Oh, yeah. They've done this for Republicans.
Yeah, their whole pro forma argument falls completely apart. And we know that because they're asked every time, well, if it's pro forma, you did it before. You've done it before. Why not do it now? And I love Mike Johnson's answer.
No.
We have another clip with.
We do have another clip.
Yeah.
From Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, talking about the special circumstances for when they swore in those Republicans.
Great.
Calvin, let's play that clip, please, from the Speaker of the House.
On the Epstein files, there she is there speaking. Why won't you swear her in?
Yeah. I mean, again, they're becoming experts at distraction and red herrings. This has absolutely nothing to do about Epstein. This is a scheduling matter. As soon as the Democrats vote to reopen the government, we will get back to the regular order and session of Congress, and that'll be, I'm sure, among our first orders of business is to administer the oath to the newly elected representative. This is just a matter of the schedule. In a pro forma session, no one's there in the chamber. It's literally sometimes 3 or 4 people. You have a clerk and whomever is serving as the interim speaker. They bang the gavel in, they say the pledge, and they bang the gavel out. That's it. It's just to keep Congress functioning. It's a tradition of the institution. But we'll do it right and do it in the right way as soon as everybody gets back here.
I understand, and that makes perfect sense until we look back and see that there have been Republicans sworn in during pro forma sessions. So why should it be different for a Democrat?
The great question. There was a unique exception made when the 2 Florida representatives were sworn in earlier this year after winning a special election. And the only reason we did that is because it was previously noticed for that date, and they flew all their families and friends in for the ceremony. So because they were here and the session got canceled, we just went ahead and did it because their families were here. That's the main purpose of it. But
so if she flies in her family, would you guys do it?
All of us, she'll get the full bells and whistles. It hasn't been scheduled because we don't schedule things for pro forma.
Lie.
No, but they're trying to make an issue out of nothing. I've looked.
It's not nothing.
He's
Mike.
lying through his perfect central casting teeth.
It's not nothing.
No.
It's really not.
You just said that you don't do it. Then when someone said you've done it, you said why you did it, and then you say,
well, but no, we wouldn't.
Yeah.
But those same circumstances don't apply to this Democrat.
No. I mean, it is just. God, like it must be, Jane, it must be tiresome to lie this much. I'm wondering if not only when you get elected to Congress or the Senate, when you have to be really good at your job to a certain point, and part of that job is just lying on command.
Well, and what stuff is keeping all the lies straight?
Oh, they don't even have to do that.
But that's why Pam Bondi brought notes yesterday.
Oh, she brought notes with her comebacks.
She had It's like being a bad comic. And writing down her comebacks in case she gets heckled by the audience. We'll talk more about that with Jim Santel tomorrow.
So pathetic.
Right now, we have news on the way, and then when we return, Andra Watkins will be here, New York Times best-selling author and author of the award-winning Substack called For Such a Time as This. Stay with us. You are listening to Matenaer On Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Wishing you were here by me to end this misery. I wonder, wonder why she ran away, and I wonder where she will stay. My little runaway, I'll run.
Good morning, Andrea. Can you hear everything okay?
I can.
All right. Awesome.
Okay.
We come back in 3 minutes. We're really looking forward to it.
Okay.
morning and welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Calvinator on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine, where you can always join us. Call or text. The number is the same at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. We are delighted to be joined by New York Times best-selling author and the author of the award-winning Substack called For Such a Time as This. Andra Watkins joins us. Good morning, Andra. Thanks for being here. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
We are good. We are surviving. We are plugging along, as it were. We have a lot to cover this morning. Before we jump into Christian nationalism and who falls under the definition of left, because I think that's going to surprise many, many, many people, let's talk about Robert Morris just for a little bit. Robert Morris, for people who don't know, is the founder of a megachurch, pastor of one of the largest megachurches in the country. He pled guilty to sexually abusing a 12-year-old girl. The 64-year-old Morris, of course, was one of Donald Trump's spiritual advisors. He began abusing this woman when she was 12. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. He's going to get 6 months.
And she's ruined. Go ahead.
There seems to be a lot of this within the clergy and within megachurches.
She's going to carry that for the rest of her life, and he gets 6 months. It's just abominable for people to let them get away with this. And
Absolutely.
It is a very common thing.
At one point, his lawyer wrote a letter saying that she had to accept some culpability for this. She was 12.
Yeah, and you know, we've talked about this before, but there are hopefully lots of new people here who haven't met me. So the reason that they would say something like that is because they adhere strictly to the doctrine of original sin, which is the interpretation of the Bible that St. Augustine invented 2,000 years ago because he was a sex addict and went into the church to stop being a sex addict. So these men never change. And came up with the fact that because Eve sinned first and tempted Adam to fall with her, the woman is originally responsible for sin and has to be subject to the man and has to submit to him and has to be blamed all the time for tempting him. And men really can't help it when they do bad things. You know, it's the woman's fault that she tempted him. So that lawyer statement is a reflection of this doctrine of original sin that these Christian nationalists adhere to keep from blaming the man because he can't control himself.
Wait, I have no culpability. I'll see you guys. I'm out of here.
Sit down.
All right.
Sit down. You're not going anywhere. I just want to make sure I understand this. Men are so strong, and the head of the household,
absolutely,
and the enforcer of, you know, he's following God's law in being the head of the household, but he is so weak and so fragile that we have to protect men from scary women, from scary ladies.
Yes, and women, that was what I was taught as a child in Christian nationalism. Women have to control themselves all the time because men can never control themselves. It's never a man's fault when he does something like that. It's always the woman's fault because she wore the wrong thing, or she looked at him the wrong way, or she giggled at him coyly, or, you know, she walked a certain way, or she sat a certain way, or she got up from a chair a certain way, or she just generally existed.
She is.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah,
she existed.
She is.
And for me, you know, as a man, it's not just that. It's also the fact. It's not even the trying to strip any sort of accountability from the man, but it's also that of you know, it's tough. It's just so it's guys, it's tough, man. He was just trying to live his life, and he saw a 12-year-old over there, and he's like, oh, my base instinct is to do something horrible. And what was he? Let's just have a moment to feel sympathy for this guy. And I'm thinking about this, and I wish I would have gotten the name of this gentleman, but he got up in front of his megachurch and he admitted to wrongdoing on this level of being in inappropriate relationships. And he did it with self-reflection in his tone, and his head was hung low, and I'm sure there was a crocodile tear there. The entire church got up and clapped for him.
Yeah.
And he was off the hook.
They are conditioned to forgive the man for anything. He said he was sorry. He's repented. We saw this with Pete Hegseth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he assaulted multiple women allegedly, but you know, he asked for forgiveness. He repented publicly. Then he turned around and did it again. Well, but he asked for forgiveness and he repented publicly, so we don't need to punish him anymore. He's paid his price. He's sorry. Let's move on. That's how they operate. And these girls and young women are scarred for life and have to carry that with them for life.
And these girls and young women are groomed for this, right?
Yes.
Because you do not question authority. You never question your spiritual leader, ever.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know, so when your spiritual leader of a mega church of 10,000 people is telling you it's God's will that I touch you here, and we just don't need to tell anybody, you know, this is a super special spiritual thing between you and me.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a child,
Yeah.
You're 12, you know, you don't know that that's inappropriate. Many of the people in these communities, especially, I mean, you don't know how sex works. You're not taught about your body.
Yeah,
You don't know any of that. So this kind of inappropriate touching and interaction, you may think, well, this is weird. This is embarrassing, but you don't really understand that it's sexual assault.
If you're just joining us right now on Matenaer On Air, we're speaking to Andrew Watkins, who is a New York Times bestselling author. I told her this last time. I love saying that, New York Times bestselling author. Also the author of the award-winning Substack For Such a Time as This. She is a survivor of the white Christian nationalist community, which, as you put it many months ago, and I always want to, I put this in the notes, and I always say it out loud when people can hear me, that these are people not on the fringes. They are in the halls of power. And I think that attitude, Andrew, that you are speaking of, where we just submit our personal morals because God has got a plan, and that means that so-and-so must have done this to this young child. So therefore, it's not for me to understand. I feel like that attitude has been mainstreamed and almost secularized because we see this type of action being busted all the time. Cops, clergy members, teachers being arrested for assault, if not absolutely worse, of children. And what we do is we say, well, the job is a lot of pressure, or they got a lot going on, and we don't know the situation. And I think in a certain sense, and tell me if I'm wrong, I feel like we as a community, as a society, do that for our own comfort, because to go deeper into it and hold accountability to these individuals, we then have to look into the nuanced topics of their professions, which usually grant them power. And these are usually men, not always, but usually men. But it's a lot easier to say, well, we just don't know, and walk away with our lives, which are busy, instead of saying we need to do something about it. Because frankly, if we were to do something about this, it would take forever because it's always happening.
Yes. And our government is shut down right now to avoid looking at this with the Epstein files.
Oh
you know, I'm convinced that's why the government shut down.
Absolutely.
Because they don't want that to come out. So, and that's a whole nother set, like you said, Greg, of secularizing, you know, many wealthy, powerful, mostly men, abusing young girls, little girls, and young women for decades and getting away with it. So, you know, this is something about our society that we're perpetuating, and this idea that is baked into all of these religions, from Judaism to Islam to Christianity, of this story of the woman being at fault and the woman being a temptress, is where they are able to encode that degree of patriarchy and female control into all of society. So even people who haven't grown up in this or been exposed to it still have that view because it is so pervasive.
Here is my question to you. If say I am in one of these churches, a Christian nationalist church, and the man is the head of the household, and my husband decides to do something completely moronic. He's going to jump off the roof into a vat of Jello, whatever. And I go to my faith leader and I say, my husband wants to do this thing that's really dangerous and stupid. Should I do this with him? Should I also jump off the roof into a vat of Jello? What is their explanation then? That you still submit to the moron?
In general, in a lot of these churches now, you have to sign some kind of contract of conduct. I had to sign a standard of conduct to be in the school when I was in junior high and high school. We had to sign one of these things, and a lot of these churches have them. So one of the things that happens with that is the church has the right to discipline you for going against the standard of contract. So, and the church leaders decide when that applies. So if the church leadership decided that not jumping off a roof into a vat of Jello with your husband was not properly submitting to him, then you could be punished publicly in the church for not submitting to your husband. So, it really is interpreted in these churches on a church by church basis.
And a case by case basis, I would imagine.
And a case by case basis, because there are people, if you're a really good tither and you give a lot of money, then probably they're going to go easier on you than if you're just to show up sometimes and do the bare minimum kind of person.
Andrew, I want a really quick. I want to make this question very quick because we have to go to grab some snacks and some water. But of these individuals, because you saw this firsthand in your experience, with no support from the church, no support from parents, no support from their community, these young people, young women and girls, have to just stay in the church. They don't probably leave because they don't have the power or the authority within them to do that. What is the percentage you see now, then or now, of young people who are just like, I got to get out of here, or they're just like, there's nothing I can do because it's God's will and I have to stay and endure?
If that had happened to me, I would have been in the it's God's will and I have to stay and endure. And a lot of people would have been, because I didn't have a choice about where I went to school or went to church. That was my parents' decision. I did not have any say in that. And I wasn't particularly rebellious. So a lot of people will stay because they don't feel like they have another choice.
Well, and again, if your education is so intentionally limited, that makes it even more difficult for you to get out into the regular world and function. We're going to continue our conversation with Andra Watkins, New York Times bestselling author and author of the award-winning Substack For Such a Time as This. Stay with us. You are listening to Matenaer On Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. We will be right back.
Ooh.
Good morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, our resident young person, Calvin on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. Join us, call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. We do have baseball later on this afternoon. Brewers at Wrigley against the Cubs. Our broadcast starts at 3:30. You can listen on terrestrial radio. Listen to the crew on WRCE in Richland Center. Here in Racine and Kenosha on WRJN. Park Falls, WCQM. And in beautiful Hayward, WBZH. Cubs hosting crew. 3:30. Our broadcast starts this afternoon. First pitch goes out at 4:08. You got a compliment on your jersey there, Greg Bach.
What's up, everybody?
Andrew, your husband's a Brewers fan.
Yes, lifelong. He used to go sit and watch them on the grass when they were in the old stadium. He would sit in the back on the free seats in the grass when he was a kid. So he's been watching them his whole life.
Nice. Andrea Watkins is our guest. She's a New York Times bestselling author and also author of the award-winning Substack called For Such a Time as This. I highly encourage you to subscribe. We will include the link in our show notes. One of your latest columns, Andrea, you talking about when Christian nationalists say the left, who are they talking about?
And it's such a good point to make, and I'm so glad you asked me to do this. And for people who are visual people, I made a video of this on my Substack that you can go find so you can see it, because we're on the radio, you can't see it here. But I'll do my best.
All right.
So, most people think, sane people think that, ideologies exist on a spectrum. So we have people who are on the far left. We have people who are on the far right. We have a lot of people who are in between. We have people who are in the middle. We have center right. We have center left. And people hit multiple points in that spectrum. And that means a certain thing, in terms of what they believe. But when somebody like Kevin Roberts, who's president of the Heritage Foundation, which authored Project 2025 that I wrote about last year and warned people not to vote for, when somebody like him says we're in the midst of the Second American Revolution and it will be bloodless if the left allows it to be, which I interpreted it as, is if you resist, we will kill you, and how I interpret that statement. But, when he says the left in that context, you have to understand that somebody like him, a diehard Christian nationalist, an Opus Dei Catholic, allegedly, who's in that cult of Christian nationalism, who's very, very far right, but rigid. We can't compromise with anybody. Our interpretation of God's law should be the Bible, and we are right, and anybody who disagrees with us is wrong, and we will not compromise an inch. We caught Sam Alito saying that on the hot mic last summer. So we can't compromise. So they very much believe that. So say you voted for this 3 times, which would make you think that you're probably over there with Kevin Roberts. You're on his team fully, but you're okay with same-sex marriage because your cousin is gay and married to a man married to a man. So you're okay with that. You carve out, it's okay. You're the left to somebody like Kevin Roberts, because anyone who does not agree with him 100% about everything is the left, because he cannot compromise. So millions and millions and millions of Americans think they're not in the crosshairs of this regime because, they're not left-wing radicals. But anybody who doesn't agree with them is a left-wing radical. The Pope now is a left-wing radical because he said being pro-life means that you need to be against the death penalty. And being pro-life means you need to take care of immigrants and treat them like human beings. And there was all this outrage within MAGA because that's radical left. Disagreeing with them at all means you are a radical left liberal.
And need to be destroyed.
Yes.
Or saved.
Do they even think
I don't
we're
think
worth
they
saving?
care so much about the save part anymore.
Okay. So the question I have then, and you've spoken on this before. In fact, you spoke on this when the first time you were ever here then, is you have someone like that gentleman, Opus Dei Catholic. Then does he see Mike Johnson as the left because he's not the same Christian nationalist as he is? They're different sides of the coin.
Flavors.
They're different flavors of Christian nationalism. So is it a matter of whomever is on the top of the mountain wins and everyone below them, even if they are just as devout in their Christian nationalism, but you're not a Catholic? Sorry, back of the line, or it's no longer a bloodless revolution.
Eventually, we will get to that if they consolidate enough power, where an Opus Dei Catholic has been schooled to say all people have to be Catholic. And so someone like Mike Johnson is Baptist, therefore he's not a real Christian to someone like Kevin Roberts or Sam Alito. So they will have to have a war about whose version of faith they're going to have to force on everyone, because they don't agree about who's going to heaven.
And I want to repeat something, too, you've been saying more and more, too. This is white Christian nationalism. This isn't Christian nationalism. This isn't an all-encompassing, super inclusive Christian nationalism. This is white Christian nationalism.
Yes. And it's just, there are 3 sectors of it: the Catholic sector, the Baptist Protestant Presbyterian sector, and the Dominionist New Apostolic Reformation sector that have distinct views about who's going to heaven.
You started writing about Project 2025 long before anybody else did. We talked about it. That's why we started having you on in the first place. They've gotten pretty far already with implementing parts of Project 2025, which we'll talk about more the next time you join us. Andra Watkins, New York Times best-selling author. Subscribe to her Substack for such a time as this. Always appreciate your time, Andra. It's so enlightening. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Take care. News coming up next, and then we're going to talk to Darren Von Ruden from the Wisconsin Farmers Union. Stay with us. This is Matenaer On Air, coming to you across the vast, statewide, countrywide. You can pick us up around the world on this Civic Media radio network. Good morning and welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, and Calvin Butenoff coming to you live from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text. The number is the same at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Coming up for the last half an hour of the show, segment we call Audio Sorbet, where we lighten things up, get away from the news, and take a breath. Today we're doing an audio sorbet / audio gripe.
Yes.
Let me tell you something, boy.
Yeah.
Yes, audio gripe is coming back after the 10:30 news. This has to do with photographs and what you photograph and if you share these photographs with others.
That just sounded like a precursor to it's going to get dirty.
Well, you'll just have to wait and see. And then we're going to wrap up the show as we always do with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Today it is the We Left a Note edition.
There it is.
So stay tuned for that. Right now, he joins us every month for an update for which we're very grateful. He is Darren Von Ruden, the president of the Wisconsin Farmers Union. Good morning, Darren. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Jane and Greg. Thank you for having me again.
Well, another story, this time from the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Anna Kleber with the byline, record crop yields won't lead to financial security this year for Wisconsin farmers. Here's why, and it's about the Trump tariffs, because that's what they are. They're the Trump tariffs. I'm curious, Darren, you're a dairy farmer, but you talk to many farmers across Wisconsin, even though I know I don't believe you grow soybeans. But what are you hearing from some of your fellow farmers?
A lot of despair, a lot of frustration, a lot of the uncertainty that we're at. But mainly the frustration of why we're at the point that we're at. We've certainly seen some of the issues with first president tariffs back in 2018 and lost the market share there, and to come back and do the exact same thing, expecting different results is not the best way to do things. It's never worked and never will work. So, as of today, China has not bought any new crop soybeans, probably do not intend to. And so that just means bad thing. In Wisconsin here, we're somewhat insulated on the fact that a lot of soybeans do go into animal feed. So whether it's the dairy herds or the pork and poultry industry, we do use quite a bit there, which is going to make the dairymen happy and the poultry and pork producers a little more comfortable, because they're not going to have to pay those outrageous prices for feed if feed prices are high. So it's really not benefiting anybody, though, because the dairy producers and pork and beef or poultry folks want to see their neighbors be prosperous too. So trying to benefit off of somebody else's loss is not something that farmers are comfortable with.
We talk about the first tariff war, trade war, and that resulted in I think when all was said and done, it was a $16 billion bailout to the farmers to help them with what they had lost because of this very thing happening now. And now Donald Trump is talking about another bailout, this time specifically for the soybean farmers. and we spoke with Pam Yonke yesterday, and she said that money would actually just pay down the debts incurred as part of the farming
Well,
process.
a lot of farmers already borrowed money for either seed or crops or other stuff like that.
And I'm sure some of them will accept the money because they need to take it and they need to pay down that debt. But really, I mean, tell us, they don't want bailouts. They want markets. They want to be able to sell and make money and do a business and keep their farms going. I mean, I can't imagine there's a lot of farmers running around Wisconsin saying, I'm going to get a check.
Yeah. You know, the family farm industry that I am involved in and really care a lot about. We want to get our money from the marketplace. Now, with the style of agriculture that we're going to, when you have the investment firms and the lawyers and the doctors that are invested in them, they really don't care where the money comes from as long as they get the money. And so having this type of a portfolio going forward, if you're huge and don't really care about what's going on with the food that we need to produce and need to eat in this country, you're going to continue to take that check. And, you know, how do we change that aspect of agriculture and get away from writing these $1 million checks to individuals or investment firms, or in some cases even other countries, because they have have worked through those loopholes in this country to make sure that they can prosper off of us, and we don't even know about it most of the time.
If you're just joining us, Darren Von Ruden is our guest on Matenaer On Air. He's the president of the Wisconsin Farmers Union, obviously talking about the tariffs. We want to play a clip for you, Darren, from Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins, who talked about, now, again, everyone is paying higher prices because of the tariffs. So essentially, when Donald Trump cuts a check to our farmers, he is paying the farmers back money they have already paid in the extra money they're paying on items that have tariffs. But Brooke Rollins, Trump's agriculture secretary, says this is a great thing. Calvin, let's play that clip, please.
Can you tell us a little bit more about President Trump's plan to use tariff money to pay farmers? What does that look like? How much are we talking about? How long will that program last?
You know, it is a very elegant solution, right? The amount of tariff money that is coming into our country is stunning. The president had a vision. He's effectuating the vision. The vision is pretty remarkable. The whole entire world economy is now realigning around American products,
away from,
which is incredible. But again, to this moment of uncertainty, the ability to offset any payments to the farmers through potential tariff revenue is really where the president wants us to head, and that's what we're looking at very soon. One more.
It's an elegant solution for a problem that this administration created.
Yeah, and they created it back in 2018, and we're going to have the same exact result this time. That means farmers are going to be pushed out of business because we can't afford to stay in business. And you know, and if there was a market out there that could replace losing the Chinese market that we're losing, we wouldn't have some of the issues that we're having. But there's no market out there that's that big that can consume that much of our soybean crop. We're working on some things right now in this country, trying to develop new markets for soybeans, but those markets are 5-7 years down the road. So in the meantime, 40 to 50% of our farmers are probably going to have to call it quits and move on to something else because they simply can't stay in business because they don't have a cash flow.
But doesn't this go back to Trump's first agriculture secretary, Sonny Perdue, who said at the time, it's go big or go home. And if you can't go big, then you're going to lose your farm and you're going to get bought up by somebody else.
Yeah, which is scary though, because at some point the only people or the only businesses that will be able to afford the farmland and the farms that are getting bigger is either large multinational corporations or foreign entities. And we can't afford to let our food system get into the control of somebody that's not the true American company or true American farmers.
I'm not asking, I don't want you to speak on behalf of all the farmers. That would be very tough for you to do that. But obviously we've talked about this in the past. Some farmers voted for Trump, some farmers did not. What are you seeing on essentially the back end of this now, where like we are post-election, we are almost a year into this first year of his second term, and you mentioned it when we first got on the air that there is a general sense of not excited and up, and there's a lot of, uncertainty. But the conversations you're hearing, what are you just hearing from people as far as just the farmers, like the things they're looking for? Because, I mean, I'm not a farmer. Jane's not a farmer. I mean, I imagine you just need leadership and you need partnership. But is there also any like resentment towards the way that you guys are being treated, saying like, all right, we're going to slash your marketplace, but we're going to give you some money and then we'll see if you can do anything. But that's, I'm very curious on what the conversations are being had at the kitchen table.
Yeah. So, in private conversations, there's a lot of anxiety, but also, what in the heck is going on? And, I'm hearing more and more from farmers that I know voted for Trump are saying, this is just absolute stupidity. It's nuts that we're in this situation. We should be doing something different. But if you want them to come and say it in public, they're probably not going to say that.
Of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
But,
Sure.
The issue there is how do we as leaders in agriculture, and I'm in that spot, how do we make them realize that it does not pay to continue to vote for a party that doesn't care about farmers? The most frustrating part in my position too is my counterpart in the state's largest farm organization has been really quiet on this, and we're not hearing anything out of that organization, and yet for 4 years Biden couldn't do anything right, and so and we're in a lot worse shape today than we were 6 months ago. Even and a year ago we were in a lot better shape because we had really good prices for most commodities. And beef prices were going up, and they're holding up. They're going to be there for a while, but when you look at corn and soybeans, those farmers are in a world of hurt, and it's not going to get any better anytime soon.
Darren, I almost wonder, it feels, again, and I'm going back to the first time around with Donald Trump and Sonny Perdue saying, well, go big or go home. It almost feels like there is a push for some of our farmers to fail so they get bought up by big companies. Let's not forget J.D. Vance, the vice president of the United States, helped back a company called Acre Trader, which opens up farmland and foreclosed farmland to investors.
Yeah, it's a terrible situation that we're in, because not only are the farmers that have been farming for decades maybe really in trouble, but how do you get that next generation started? And when you have companies like that are just doubling and tripling the cost of land throughout the country, you can't get that next generation started. And if you're lucky enough to have a uncle or an aunt or father or your mother, that owns some land, and they're willing to give you somewhat of a break, you can certainly get into it. But, trying to start that next generation is really, really difficult right now. And here in our area, the land prices in the last 5 years have just about tripled. So trying to get that next generation and younger folks, unless you've been given a silver spoon like our president has, you simply can't get into the business.
Well, and Scott Bessent is another one in the Trump administration who I understand owns many, many, many acres of soybeans, I believe in North Dakota. And again, if we start losing some of these smaller farms, they're going to sell and they're going to get bought up by much bigger guys.
Yeah, the biggest thing is diversity, and we're going away from diversity, going into the concentration mode at a faster pace today than we have in the last 5 decades. And if we don't get back to that diversity, our food system is going to be in a world of hurt.
We're going to continue our conversation with the president of the Wisconsin Farmers Union. Darren Von Ruden is here. You can always join us, call or text at 855-752-4842. Stay close. You are listening to Matenaer On Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network, and we will be right back. morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Sweet Calby on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. Join us, call or text at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter.
Sorry, I was about to say something and I realized you were still talking. I apologize.
That's okay.
I'll take it from here. We are joined by Darren Von Ruten, who is the president. I've talked before in public, folks. I'm sorry. What happened right there?
He's new.
Wisconsin Farmers Union. He is the president. He joins us once a month to talk about all things farming. And I know that I actually mentioned to you during the break that we would talk to him about his trip to Washington, you take a trip to Washington, but also something I remember that Darren did want to speak about was the fact that the government is shut down and how that is affecting the farmers right now. I mean, I imagine that payments and partnerships are being held to account and just sparkling right now while the government's doing nothing.
Yeah, and certainly it's year end, so farmers are getting their year end reports done. Can't get those into the Farm Service Agency offices because they're not open. Employees have been locked out of their computers, so they can't even try to do anything for farmers if they could. It's just it's a real frustration. Ultimately, yes, that payment schedule will happen. There's conservation payments that come out every once in a while, so that could be impacted by it. And just really looking at what's going on. Talking with a neighbor here the other day, he said, why are our House of Representatives and our senators and the president even getting paid during this time? Because they don't want to pay other federal employees, so they shouldn't be getting a paycheck right now too. And it's real frustration out there on the hypocrisy that's really on both sides. But certainly when you look at who's in control right now, it's Republicans in all three facets of the government. And they really need to come to the bargaining table and offer something that the other side will agree with, versus what they're doing right now is saying that, no, you have to agree with us on what we want. And, they need the Democrats' help to get the government back open. And right now they're not doing anything to try to make that happen.
And Darren, I have to wonder, where do farmers get their health insurance?
Well, there's a vast majority of us that are in the ACA. So, looking at that process, you're going to take the government check for the subsidy on your crops, but you don't believe that that you should get the subsidy for the insurance premium, and your neighbors in urban America and the cities across the country shouldn't get that subsidy either. So it's all right if you get it for the farm, but you shouldn't get it for anything else. And, what's good for the goose should be good for the gander is what I always say. And let's, keep the playing field level versus trying to offset one.
Well, these carve-outs, right? These special group carve-outs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the president's done in agriculture too. He certainly has made sure that the commodity farmers, especially corn and soybean farmers, get a payment as part of the big beautiful bill, but yet took everything away from all of the small producers across the country, and those that are in most need of a little bit of help right now have absolutely no way to get those dollars from the federal government because there's no programs available for it anymore.
And Jane, I'm glad you asked the question and Darren giving the answer, because that's something I think really needs to be repeated, is that, when we think of the ACA, when we think of benefits, whether it's SNAP, Medicare, Medicaid, we tend to put the people who want to do away with it or, quote, save it, they want to put it on the heads of people who live in cities, the ne'er-do-wells, the lazy, the shiftless, all those guys watching television, doing nothing in their basement. But farmers take part in the ACA. Farmers take part in Medicare and Medicaid. Farmers avail themselves to these SNAP benefits. They avail themselves to these benefits. This group that you belong to, who are so lauded by our politicians, are consistently being used as, pawns, and then all of your benefits with ours too are being taken away, but they get to control the narrative and say, oh, it's these terrible people who are frauding and lazy and misusing, but really it's a guy maybe up in northern Wisconsin who needs the ACA to get health insurance, and he's like, I can't pay 75% increases on my premium. Well, sorry.
Yeah. So my son and daughter-in-law are in the ACA program because Brett's farming. Nicole is doing a part-time taking care of grandkids and a couple other kids here. And so health insurance is the only way they can get it through the ACA. And they're looking at their premiums under the current proposals to go up $300 a month. Well, they don't have that kind of money laying around to go up. And, certainly the WIC program has helped in the past, in rural America, and especially farmers. If you're going to just farm, trying to find insurance is absolutely impossible. And the ACA program has definitely helped a lot of farmers across the country. And now we're looking at, getting a payment on one side, but getting in the shorts on the other end.
We're going to keep talking with Darren Von Ruden. He joins us once a month. We always have one day, Darren, we'll just sit and talk about recipes. We'll talk about great things to do with cheese.
Yeah.
This is not that time, unfortunately. Darren Von Ruden is the president of the Wisconsin Farmers Union. He joins us once a month. Thank you so very much, Darren. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you, Jane and Greg.
Appreciate it. News coming up next, and then when we return, it's an audio gripe. Stay close. You're listening to Matenaer On Air on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Take me down to Junior's Farm. Everybody tag along. Take me down to Junior's Farm. Take me
morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, our one, our only calzone on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. Join us, call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream. Good morning, live stream.
Hello, live
on
stream.
Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Baseball later on this afternoon. Brewers at Wrigley Field to sweep the Cubs.
Hey,
Could sweep the Cubs.
a sweep is possible.
As possible. Our broadcast will start today at 3:30. First pitch going out about 4:08. You can listen to the game, not on the stream, but on terrestrial radio on WRCE in Richland Center, WBZH in Hayward, and here in Racine, Kenosha on WRJN Crew at Wrigley against the Cubs. Our broadcast starts today at 3:30. Go Crew. This is the portion of the show where we like to take a breath, get away from the news. We call it Audio Sorbet.
But
Today, it's a special version called Audio Gripe.
Well, let me tell you something, boy.
Get off my lawn. Audio Gripe. Here it is. Why do people share photos of their injuries and or scars?
what happened to you?
I have a close relative that I love dearly
Wonderful.
who had foot surgery.
You.
I know. And talking the other day, just texting back and forth, how you doing? How you feeling? You up and around? I know, I mean, it's a pain in the neck having any surgery.
Family who have to talk to?
Well, no, I love my family. But, it's like, do you want, so she had the surgery and she said, do you want to see a picture of my foot? And I said, as delightful as that sounds, no, thank you.
But here's the question I have for you. Did this person then share a picture of their foot?
No.
See, that right there, I feel is amazing because there's a lot of individuals out there, we've all been there, where they say, you want to see a picture of something? And it's not so much a question as it is a setup to say, you're going to see a picture of something.
Whether you want to or not.
Whether you'd like it or not. And then you have to be, and then no, your full Midwestern takes over and you look and inside your head, you're like, I don't want to see this picture, but you don't have the temerity to say, I didn't get a chance to answer or no, thank you. So you are left. I want to say shout out to your friend or your relative who listened and did not share.
Did not inflict the photo on me. But I don't get that. I don't get, here's my scar. Let me show you. Here's I broke my leg. Let me take a picture and show you the 4 places I broke. No. No, why?
Yeah.
855-752-4842. Are you a sender of said pictures? Or are you like me and the unwilling recipient of said pictures? 855-752-4842. What is it? What? No, I don't want to. No, thank you.
Okay.
Really?
Well,
I'm good.
Okay. I feel like does this happen a lot?
Well,
you came in hot with this one today. You were like, I'm like, okay, and you just declared and then you had the nerve to say it was audio sorbet. I'm like, this is audio gripe,
and that's where we put it.
Yes,
we put it into audio gripe because I am complaining. But I mean, and I haven't been on Facebook since 2019.
Oh, that must be amazing.
It is. It's fabulous. But when I was still on Facebook, people would share photos of like, here's a picture of my mother in the hospital where she's recovering from pneumonia. Yeah. Why would you share that?
What? I feel like I'm trying to find reasons to defend the actions because I'm not the type of person that does that either. I wouldn't share a picture of myself. Well, first of all, I'm not sharing a picture of anyone else unless it's we went to the park or like when my wife and I bought a house,
here's our new house.
Here's our new house. Like something that's celebratory or marking a milestone, I get that. But not if I was in the hospital, and most definitely not someone else where like, click, here's my friend. They're in the hospital. Like, no, that's feels like an invasion of privacy.
Absolutely. That's what I thought too. Here's my mother recovering from pneumonia in the hospital. Wave, Grandma. But no.
PJ on the live stream says because scars are like a badge of honor, aka battle scars from life. I get that, and that's pretty dramatic, but there does something to say like, hey, you want to see my scar? And then if you want to say yes, then go ahead and say it. I have a friend who I ask all the time, do you want to see a picture of this? And it's never anything offensive or like, but he's always like, always send it. Always do it. I'm like,
he wants to see it all.
Nah, I'm going to ask you anyways, because you never know. Mainly because I don't know if you're at work or not. But yeah, I mean, I get it. Like there's some, like you lift up your shirt and you're like, oh man, this is from when I was a kid and we got the shots. We used to get a dent in our skin because we were tougher back then. I get that. But
I mean, again, this is where I fought off the bear. That's one kind of scar as opposed to I broke my leg. Here's a picture of my broken leg.
Yeah.
Do you send, or are you like me and you don't want to receive photos of injuries and scars?
Or other maladies.
Ooh, malady, good word.
Thank you.
855-752-484. Maybe I'm the only person in the world.
You're not the only person in
that
the world.
gets these requests.
By the way, don't text them into the text line to us to make a point either, please and thank you.
What, pictures of your scars?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean,
no, that's okay. We're good.
Yeah.
Do you do this? I mean, and I would love to know why you want to share your scar photos. Or are you like me and you don't send me the I don't need to. No, thanks.
Okay.
I don't even like to look at my own body. Why would I like to look at yours?
Okay. Well, geez. All right. That's where, like, for me, my sister and I are very different because, like, she will watch those Dr. Pimple Popper videos. So I have no doubt in my mind if I said, hey, look, my thumb fell off, she'd be like, I need to see a picture of that right now. Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, that's a whole other topic. You know, why would you watch videos of that? But yeah, I don't.
I mean, and that's a big thing.
Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh. Yeah. It's millions of subscribers, millions of views. And I understand the visceral base sense of it all. Like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen. Then
that the end is kind of
the end is in the name of the title.
It's kind of built in there.
The doctor, Jonathan Pimple Popper, I feel like was born to do this. Wait a minute, I'm hearing breaking news that is not their last name for real.
Oh, for real?
It's a different last name. This opens up everything. I don't know. I feel like I'm on your side. I do not have the flurry of photographic evidence of various scars, injuries, or whatnot sent to me, but I feel bad for you. Apparently, there's flooding in.
Well, maybe I'm just squeamish.
I don't know if it's, well, I mean, okay, so if I sent you a picture of, let's say, a bad cut of my finger, is it going to be like, ugh, gross, I can't look at that? Or is it like, why'd you send this to me?
It would be, why did you send this to me?
I don't think you're squeamish. I just think you have a thing of like, I don't want to see these things. They're not.
Why?
Okay.
855-752-4842. It is our slice of audio gripe today.
Yeah.
I have a very close relative I love and adore.
Mm-hmm.
Just had some foot surgery. And we were texting the other day, and she said, you want to see a picture of my foot? I said, gee, thanks. That was so, no.
You know what sucks? Is that person, that relative was like, oh man, I wanted to show her my foot. Like, you bummed them out. That was the thing, is you were the cool water in their hot party.
I destroy the vibe.
You did. You're a vibe.
I'm a vibe
Jane
killer.
Matenaer, vibe killing since the 80s.
It's kind of my job.
Yeah.
Carol from Waukesha texting in on WAUK. I completely agree with you, Jane. I don't understand why people need to send such gross things. Thank you, Carol. I appreciate that.
Oh, my God.
Am I the only one? 855-752-4842.
Jack from Merrimack listening on WAUK says, I recall when President Johnson showed pictures of his scar from some operation he had. I remember thinking, I didn't really need to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. LBJ, like that is a man who I would say class oversharer. The tapes that are on him, they're not like Watergate where it's like crime. It's him saying things you're like, why would you say anything like this out loud to another? Just look up, Google President LB, or look up LBJ pants alteration audio. Just listen to that. I can't talk about it on the air.
Really?
Because it's weird, and it's not FCC non-compliant, but it's definitely
borderline.
It's FCC. Dude, what are you doing? Just look up LBJ pants alteration audio, and it's a whole new world. I just ruined your day.
Audio gripe today in place of audio sorbet. People who like to send photos of their surgeries, their scars. Are you a sender or are you an unwilling recipient? 855-752-4842.
And do you do what Jane did? You say no, thank you, and leave it at that. You don't just be like, oh, okay, I guess. No, you say no, thank you. I would not like to see this.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah. Carol listening on WAUK in Waukesha, these must be the same people that watch things like Dr. Pimple Popper. Yuck. Yeah, exactly. Anytime those videos come up in any of my feeds, I block them. First of all, I hide them. Then I block the accounts because I'm like, no, thank you. I don't want this.
I'm good.
They're the same people who post injury photos when people like whiff it at skateboarding or something. And I can watch someone fall off a skateboard, but it's when they fall off a building while skateboarding. No, thank you.
Yeah, I don't want to see that either. 855-752-4842. If you'd like to join our audio gripe today, Barb from Heartland is on the line. Good morning, Barb. Thanks so much for joining us. We were talking about people who like to share photos of their injuries and their scars.
I love it.
You do?
Wow.
Yes. I love it.
Can we get your email address? Everyone, Barb's email.
Send them all to Barb. What is it, Barb, that you like about this?
Fascinating. It's just like watching that show with the fat people. Like, how does this happen?
Sorry, Barb. Which one are you talking about? There are a lot of those shows on TLC.
I know, and it's like, what is so, like, I don't know. It's just like this weird fascination. How bizarre can things get? And I enjoy looking at it.
All right.
I really appreciate you. I really appreciate that, Barb. Thank you for that. And thank you for joining us and telling us that, because there are obviously, you're not alone.
No, absolutely not. No.
I mean, we have almost entire TV programs dedicated to things like that.
We are fascinated by the unknown or the weird or the strange or things like that, or the slightly I think the palatable grotesque,
borderline grotesque.
Yeah. And now, granted, I also grew up in the 80s where there was literally a line of movies called Faces of Death, where it was just people for like an hour or so dying. So that's kind of, I feel like if you think about it, we've cooled it down a bit since then.
I guess I should be relieved.
Yeah.
It's just foot surgeries now.
Oh, man.
But that has been very enlightening.
Yeah. Oh, Calvin said that LBJ, he also allegedly make staffers give him reports while he was using the. Yeah, LBJ was a weird dude. Real weird.
That'll be a whole different audio survey. When we return, we're going to wrap up the show with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Hey, we left a note edition. You are listening to Matenaer On Air. Stay with us on the Civic Media Radio Network. Good morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, the board lord, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. Join us, call or text 855-752-4842. Leave a comment on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Coming up tomorrow, Jim Santel will be here, host of Amicus, a law review Saturday mornings, 9 to 11 across the network. It is a great show. Among many other things that we're going to talk about with Jim Santel is Attorney General Pam Bondi yesterday in congressional hearings.
The most professional human on earth.
It was really something.
She really brought her "let me see your manager" vibe.
Yeah,
God.
and apparently she had all her comebacks written down, so she didn't.
Hack.
So she didn't actually have to answer any questions. She just came back with insults. We're going to talk to Jim Santel about that and many other things, including this Tom Homan thing, who was given $50,000 in cash in a fast food bag. And now Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, we don't want to talk about where that money is. Did he? And Homan says he did nothing wrong.
Oh, he also has opinions on his serving in the federal government.
I'm sure he does. Did he pay taxes on it? Was it just free and clear? Did he declare it? Anyway, Jim Santel will be here in hour number 1. In hour number 2, retired Major General and Randy Manner is going to be joining us to talk about Pete Hegseth's address last week to
I have
our
a lot
generals.
of questions. Oh,
Lots of questions there. And then for the last half an hour of the show, we will again lighten it up and talk sports with Civic Media sports guy Jimmy Kuska.
indeed.
He is a busy guy.
He's not just talking about, we're going to be talking about the major sports, but he is one of our high school, college guys. Just high school, too. He is
high school, absolutely.
huge into
High school sports. So all of that and more coming up for you tomorrow on Matenaer On Air. Right now, Calvin, just about 10:55. That means it's time for...
This shouldn't be a thing.
Should you ever stumble upon a thing that you think should not be, send it into Greg and me at Jane Says at civicmedia.us, JANESAYS, Jane Says at civicmedia.us. This from NBC News, Jonathan Lloyd with the byline. The headline reads, Stolen California gas station dinosaur returned with apology note.
Aww.
See, we left a note. Claire, the Sinclair gas station dinosaur.
Oh, it's the Sinclair company? Never mind.
Was stolen last week in a crime caught on security camera video. The 50-pound fiberglass dinosaur named Claire, stolen last week from an LA gas station, has now been returned with an apologetic note. The 4-foot-tall mascot stolen last week. Video showed the person, because there's security cameras all over the place, using power tools to remove Claire, then loading her into the back of a pickup truck and driving away. A clerk at the station told NBC News she arrived early Monday to see that Claire was back. An attached note read, "I'm sorry for stealing. Please don't charge me." Well, yeah, now we've got your truck and probably your license plate and all that stuff.
And Sinclair, they'll definitely press charges.
The dinosaur wrapped in fabric was likely returned sometime after midnight when the business was closed. Security camera footage shows what appears to be the same white pickup truck pulling up to the station before unloading the wrapped up dinosaur. Did they think it wouldn't be recognized if they put it in a sheet?
What do you think it is?
Is that dinosaur shaped?
What is it? What is that dinosaur shaped sheet in there?
No arrests so far have been reported. The dinosaur's disappearance, Claire, of course, the dinosaur, captured the attention of some famous residents, including actress Jamie Lee Curtis.
Award-winning, Academy Award-winning.
Who posted video of the crime. Maybe that's what finally did it. Shamed the guy into bringing her back.
That's amazing that it took famous people.
It took famous people to shame the guy into bringing Claire the dinosaur back. While she was missing, some of Claire's fans brought flowers and other items. Apparently, they came and picked them up now that she's back.
I spent $15 on this bouquet.
They brought flowers. Are we sure this didn't happen in Portland? They would, right?
Send in the troops.
Yeah.
They've stolen our dinosaur.
Dinosaurs became a big part of Sinclair's advertising in the 1930s. Promotions over the years have featured different dinosaurs, but eventually this one, the Apatosaurus, became their most recognized dinosaur mascot.
We're mining the oil from the dinosaurs, so we might as well make him our mascot.
Exactly.
It's just like, hey, you know how we're like ruining, especially in the 30s. Remember, you know how we're ruining the environment and pouring our waste into our waters? Let's soften our image with a cute dinosaur.
That'll help.
And 90 years later, it still holds.
Apparently, it's still working. All right, that wraps up today's episode of
This Shouldn't Be a Thing.
Thank you, Greg and Calvin and all of our engineers and everyone at Civic Media. Without you, nothing works. And thank you most of all for calling and for texting and for listening and watching on the live stream. It means the world. I hope you find some joy today, even if it's just the tiniest little bit, and you have the chance to share it. We have news coming up next, followed by Tom Hartman from 11 to 2, so keep it right here on the Civic Media Radio Network. Have a great day. We will see you tomorrow.